Welcome back to the dark side of YouTube. It's been a little bit since we've done a dark side of YouTube where we dive into something creepy, something paranormal, something unexplained. I think the last one we did was the Devil's Triangle, which you can check up there if I remember correctly. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we have a spooky, kind of a ghost story to talk about today. An unexplained phenomena that happened to 104 passengers on a train back in 1911. Now when I found this story, I was like, that is some bizarre paranormal crap happening right there. And I've never ever heard of this story until pretty much today, I believe. So we're going to dive into the story, unexplained phenomena of the ghost train of the Zanetti company and the disappearance of 104 passengers. I know it's crazy. How does a train just magically vanish with all 104 passengers still on board? Not only is this a paranormal story, but it's also a time traveling story. Yeah, there's some time traveling involved. We're going to dig into that as well. So buckle up. It's going to get a little interesting, a little bit weird as well. And if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you guys do not miss out on the next spooky video. Is the time traveling of the Zanetti train actually real? Kind of. Yes, the Zanetti train company and the train itself does exist. This train was made back in 1911. It was an Italian company pioneered in making trains. And so they made this train a new laden train to facilitate wealthy passengers so that they could travel through the beautiful Lombardy mountains, beautiful scenery, and just the luxury that comes with the train itself. The luxury was of prime importance to this company. They would board this beautiful train, they would get fed delicious food, delicious liquor, enjoy the beautiful scenery as this train is going down the tracks, and it would take them through the Lombardy Tunnel, which is half a mile long. And in that period, this was the longest constructed railroad tunnel. So since this train was targeted towards the wealthy, right? This train had to have the latest luxury items, had to be built from the latest technology of that time, of course. This train got built, it had three luxuriously designed cars for these wealthy people to hang out in as they do this trial run. And while doing this trial run, it was a way to advertise this train to the wealthy people, of course. And at this time, this was a very innovative way to market this type of train, especially to those rich people. So they got this trial run all set up and they invited around 100 people to come onto the train and enjoy this new experience with them. So they would start at the main station, they would go to the end station, and then they would come back to the starting station. And going from the starting station back and forth with these people on board would also advertise to them that, this is the train to be on. Come spend your money with us. On July 14th, 1911, the train departed from the station with 100 passengers on board and 6 crew members, making the total 106 people. The train took off, the passengers were enjoying their meal, they were enjoying the beautiful scenic route, enjoying the liquor too, getting a little bit tipsy as well. They were doing what people do on trains. I've never been on a train myself. I'd imagine there's a lot of sitting and talking, especially back in those days, maybe reading a newspaper, or, if you're wealthy enough, eating the finest food and getting pissed off your seat, right? So word spread about this luxury train. A lot of people went to the stations to check it out and waved to them as they passed by. The train passed the first station, people were there waving at them. Everyone's so excited, like, wow, that's a beautiful train car. If I had the money, I'd definitely be on there. Made a couple stops at a couple stations, and then they were on their way. During this journey, the train reached the Lombardy Tunnel. Now, this tunnel was half a kilometer long, and they entered in, and they did not come out the other side. The station on the other side were waiting for their arrival. Kept checking their watches to see if the train's going to be on time, but it never showed up. They waited a couple extra minutes, a couple hours, and the train still didn't show up. Now, they were thinking maybe the train had a breakdown or something inside the tunnel. The Zanetti company were very confused at what happened. Why wasn't the train here? So they launched an investigation to go check out the tunnels, and what they found was nothing. The train had vanished. They scoured every inch of that tunnel, and the train was not found. So how does a large train carrying 106 passengers just vanish? No one knows. They checked the books, and evidence did show that the train departed from the last station before entering these tunnels. But no one saw the train come out the other side. It was only half a mile long of a tunnel, and there's no other way for the train to go. There's no sign of the train, there's no sign of the passengers, no sign of an accident, no side tunnels, just straight track. They did, however, find 2 passengers from that train. They claimed they were on that train and they checked the manifest, and yes, these 2 people were on the train. So what happened? Well, apparently they both jumped off before entering the tunnel. Now this is where it gets a little bit weird. The 2 passengers told the Italian press that as they were coming up on the tunnel, as they were entering the tunnel, a strange white mist started to engulf the whole train to a point where you were not able to see anywhere. These 2 men got scared of what was happening, so they jumped from the train. And that was the last thing they remember. They also said that the front of the train became entirely engulfed in this white mist, and it started to slow down, like time itself was slowing down. And of course, seeing this, the men freaked out. I mean, if I saw that happening, I don't know if I'd jump off. Maybe I'd stay on. I don't know. I mean, if the food's really good, I'd probably stay on myself. So 106 passengers turned into 104 missing passengers. These 2 passengers were examined by a psychiatrist, and it revealed that they had some stress and a little bit of a sleeping disorder. That was it. They were totally fine, totally lucid. So after this incident, they decided to close the tunnel, and during World War II, this tunnel did get bombed and it was closed forever. Now, this is where we get into the time traveling, going all back to the future. Now, if we dive into some records, you can see that some things are not what they appear. There are records from medieval monks in Modena who saw a 3-car train with people in it. Now, back in those times, the fastest thing were horses. So seeing this train was not familiar to them at all. They probably had no idea what the hell this thing was. The same Zanetti train was also spotted around Germany, Romania, Italy. Now, the strange incident of the train does not stop there. One of the relatives of one of the passengers on that train were looking through some archives, and they found something really interesting. In 1840, local records of a hospital suggested that 104 Italians were admitted to their hospital in a mentally disarranged state. The psychiatrist left a note stating that all 104 passengers had the exact same story of what happened, and they were dressed in really weird clothing. They all said that they traveled in the Zanetti train from Italy. What surprised the nurses is that how were all these people admitting the same thing? Some of the admitted people in this hospital even had cigar boxes that said 1907 on it, the date of the manufacturer, and the cigar box to this day is still preserved in the Mexican Museum. 104 people were in this hospital, they're all acting strangely. So the treating doctors and nurses didn't take them seriously, they just thought they were kind of crazy. So how does a train that was built in 1911 with 104 passengers on it time travel back to 1840 Mexico? October 29th, 1955. So we go a little bit forward in time now. In a small town of Suwałki in the Ukraine, an on-duty singleman saw a train appear. It was an old-fashioned train running slowly with the words Zanetti on the side. Check the schedule to see if there's any trains coming, but there wasn't. Also, there's no one driving the train as well. And he found it kind of weird that there's an old-fashioned train on the tracks in this part of the region. The description of this train provided by him exactly matched that of the train back in 1911 that disappeared. So what is the theory here? The theory is that when this train entered the tunnel, they somehow time traveled back in time between all these places on the train. The train kept reappearing and disappearing in different instances in different time periods. It is a unique case of time travel and a pretty interesting story if I do say so myself. What do you think happened to the train? Let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, be sure to hit that like button. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe as well, so you do not miss out on the next time we put out a video. And as always, I'll see you in the next spooky video.